Let's bring in a couple of friends here to talk about it. As I said, these are people who look at ads the same way you do. In fact, people who make ads like this. First of all, Allan Bonner of Allan Bonner Communications Management in Edmonton joins us. And also from Ottawa, Bernie Gauthier, who joins us as well of Delta Media. Thanks very much for both of you for being here. Allan, let me start with you. When you take a look at the negative ads, you've heard what Nick had to say about his tracking of this. Have they been a waste of time for the Conservatives, or is there some bite there to them?
Well, I think some of Nick's data suggests a bit of a waste of time, but the other people who look at these ads are academics. And over the weekend, I looked at some of the academic literature from the United States, and the results, interestingly enough, are inconclusive about whether negative ads work. Some people say they may galvanize and cause people to go to the polls. Other people say they can get ignored. 25 to 50% of the electorate doesn't even see them. So, you know, the jury is out, and they are very, very expensive. I was just going to say there are way too many messages in this ad, including about gratuitous things like he likes Algonquin Park and he might leave and so on and so forth. And you know, it's just not going to stick. The other thing is, if you're trying to allege that Ignatieff is not committed to the political process, it's virtually what Harper said in the last election campaign, that if he wasn't successful at the polls, he might not stay in politics. So it's a pretty weak try, I think.
Very weak. Yeah.
I want to go back to Nick on a point, though, and that is that does the effectiveness of negative advertising show up this quickly, though?
No. That's the best way to look at these ads. Negative ads don't necessarily move the dial fast. Think of this as chapter one of a multi-chapter book. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Conservatives reintroduce and try to reinforce this thread. You know, in a way, I think the symbol of the ads was that the Conservatives are ready for an election, and here's a little bit of a pre-taste of how they're going to attack Michael Ignatieff. So in the short term, no impact, but in the long term, that doesn't mean that these could move the dial.
That's right. Just last thought here. We've only got about a minute left here. If you had to advise both the Liberals and the Conservatives what to do over the next few months, if these ads aren't biting as deeply as they wanted to, if the Liberals aren't responding, what's phase two in this battle? Where should it go? And Allan, quickly start with you.
Get some positive policy that differentiates you in a positive manner from the other campaign. Remember, we've just come off campaigns in the U.S. where the candidates have spent $1 billion and people can only name one or two of the ads that worked. It's the speeches and the positive policy that works more.
Bernie.
Well, I would echo that. I think we saw coverage in the newspapers this morning that the Conservatives are lamenting the fact that their investments in defense spending and the jobs being created aren't getting out into the news cycle and aren't top of mind for Canadians. And that tells me that they need to get on message and talk about the things they're doing right and stop focusing strictly on the negative attack ads.